I
Five
mean, you
bucks.
at least have to have some Dodger stuff.
Yeah. Yep. I go every year for my series when my team's in town, except for this year. They're doing this weird thing in the stadium because there's no audience, right? They're um they're piping in noise, like applause and such.
Oh,
But it's funny because it's equal for both teams. So
yeah.
your home team does something great,
So
yay!
the energy levels are just like they're always like this.
Yeah, because usually you know who the home team is based on the amount of applause, right?
Right. Or at least who the fan favorites are.
Yeah, so that was the question the announcers were talking about. Like, should there be louder energy for the home team's success?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
That's definitely a good question.
exactly. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
For real.
That was my joke for the day. But it is a very exciting day.
Yeah. Um I feel like I'm going through this adventure of Comic Con at home. So not only is it my first SDCC, it's like everybody's first Comic Con at home. But I'm going on this like Wednesday was really uneventful, which it is for most people, but it was like really like I have no idea what I'm doing. Thursday was like I'm gonna go to the exhibit hall. Let's go check out. Oh, look at all this great swag and stuff. And then today was like there's all these panels. What do I do? And luckily, I was able to like even if it was a 1 o'clock, if I had 2 or 3 1 o'clock panels, didn't matter because I would just watch
Not
one.
to cut you off, but we got to introduce the show here,
Oh,
folks.
let's do it.
Anyway, so welcome to day 2 of Comic Con at Home, which is technically the 3rd day, but our 4th day of talking about Comic Con here live on YouTube. We've lost a member of our team to who knows where, and they live in this apartment, and I don't even know what's going on with them. So we've got a big black that. But other than that, we've got a day full of stuff that happened. Oh, Steven's in the chat room. Hi, Steven. We might have some surprise guests at some point today as well. And we've got surprise guests tomorrow, and hopefully we've got a couple people on Sunday, but we definitely have stuff at some point, maybe tonight and tomorrow.
A lot of stuff.
I think maybe, but like we do, but we
do.
but we do. Steven said, how did I manage to move that chair all the way to Hall H? I was like, man, I'm dedicated for the Bill and Ted panel tomorrow, man. I'm front of line. I'm here waiting for Hall H.
Well, but the secret is you haven't moved from there.
Well, I mean, I watched a couple of panels, but as soon as
my panels
were done today, straight to Hall H, you know. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about our highlights today. What did you guys get into?
So much stuff. I guess I'll start. It just seems right. I had so many ideas of what I wanted to do today, but I started the day off with the YOLO Crystal Fantasy on Adult Swim. I have to say, done very well in the means of like the actual panel. It was really cute. One of the main characters' houses was like the backdrop, and their little Zoom profiles were in the windows. It was adorable. But all in all, you know, it had a creator and voice actor Michael Cusack and a few other people, and he, according to him, he did some shows called Bush World Adventures, but didn't know anything about it. He did like a Rick and Morty thing about it, but it's very, very Australian, and I don't get the comedy at all. It just didn't click with me. I love Rick and Morty. I didn't see the comparison, maybe very minor, but wasn't too excited about that. I dropped my note cards. It's live, everybody, in case you didn't know. All right. But after that was the one that I was anticipating for like days now, which was the tabletop design your own game and bringing it to life, basically with we all called it the Eric Lang panel. So, oh, speaking of which, Ross,
right on time.
Ross, he came in perfectly. It's wonderful. I was just talking about it. I
started watching this tabletop panel, and boom, there was Ross.
Yeah, Ross moderated.
When you say the word tabletop, though, like literally, just you talk about gaming, and Ross just appears.
He's like if you say tabletop 3 times with the lights off in the bathroom, he appears.
That's how that works, right?
Totally. How are you doing, Ross?
Good. I'm not gonna lie. It feels like Comic-Con, but also not, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah, the general consensus.
yeah, yesterday was, I think, my most stressful day. It was 10 minutes before our radio stream we're doing with the 94.9, and my power goes out at the house.
Oh no.
So luckily, the other host for the radio station's 5 minutes away. So like I scooted my laptop and like went down, and we set up a table outside in his driveway, and we did the first stream there. And then he's got 2 4-year-olds that are like running around, and I'm like, I love your kids, they're great, but I have a thing to do before this. I went up to the office, which is like an hour away. I live a little bit far from the op, so I went up there and then did that, and then it was like cool. I finished our other segment and a live thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna go home because the power came back on. So then I came home and did that other stream, and I'm like, I'm tired. Like,
Yeah.
like that's a lot of activity for like our lives have all changed, right? So we're not
done in 5 months.
totally right. It was like I was in the car up and down, so we ordered a pizza. And I've been watching the Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon on Disney Plus as like my eating show.
Okay.
Because I've been binging through all the Avengers Assemble stuff. So that's where I'm currently at. And that show's okay. But usually I watch like a half an hour episode, do that, and then do it out. And I passed out on the couch. And I'm like, I haven't done pass out on the couch in forever. So it definitely felt kind of like it's gone, so, but it's good. Everything's going good. So.
That's awesome. It's definitely Wednesday I was trying for a bunch of it, like exclusives and merch and stuff that was going on, and like every website was crashing everywhere, and there was just mass pandemonium going on, and that anxiety felt like Comic-Con. And I was like, you know what, they did a really good job of creating the feeling of Comic-Con. But then hey, I got my first Funko exclusive from a comic,
nice,
and it already arrived. How
That's crazy.
I literally hadn't even gotten a confirmation email that my order purchase went through. And this morning I was like, whatever happened to that? And then here it was on my door.
That's like Futurama level good.
Right? So good. Oh, interesting. We just got a little like tip about the SpongeBob patch. So Nickelodeon's giving away 800 SpongeBob patches every day. And we haven't been able to figure out how this is working because the website just never seems to work. Apparently they open at 9 a.m., but today they opened at 8:50 a.m. And I guess the site just stops working once they've hit the 800 people.
Oh,
so
wow.
Great on that. If you guys want that patch, you got 2 more days.
I've given up. I did, however, because I haven't gotten any merch or gotten any swag, I made my own today. I'll show you what I did.
What?
Here's my little Homelander from the
That's
boys.
adorable.
That's really adorable.
3D. It's very delicate because I don't have good construction paper, but
that's super cool.
Right?
That's awesome.
You get your swag, you make your own.
Yep. And yesterday we got those Amazon fan boxes that they delivered. They sent 3 of them to my apartment. There's 2 of us here, so I drove it to Kristen's house so she could have some Comic-Con swag. And it was like a late night delirious drive after a day of panels, and it felt like Comic-Con, and I got to see a friend that I haven't seen since last year, like it was good. But so anyway, so Peter, you were just starting to talk about this tabletop panel that Ross moderated.
Right. Which was, by the way, you were excellent in that. The questions were well guided, and it was so cool watching everyone talk about how the pandemic is affecting board game design. I really found it interesting that a few people agreed that RPGs are kind of the way to go, almost, is what it sounded like, because tabletop is so hard to play test and develop right now where everyone is at home. It did seem like tabletop simulators is making a bunch of money. A bunch of people are downloading it. But yeah, it was like, I'm like, man, Ross is big time with with board games now. Look at, he's talking to Eric Lang, and I'm just like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Oh, Eric is such a good dude. I mean, the whole panel was just filled. It was just some fantastic people. We had Kathleen, we had Sun Fu Lim, we had Elisa T, we had Eric Lang, we had Emerson. Like, and there was Emerson just like, oh, here I am casually relearning, like
Oh,
Linux,
that was awesome.
Just like, okay, bro, like, like he's so that it was just really cool to hear everybody's been doing stuff because like things
Right.
have totally changed during all of this, and so as we're trying to design games and do different things, and so it was really cool. I'm glad we were together, everybody that
Yeah.
we did, for that, because they really all had different perspectives on what they've been doing, and especially from like different studios too, right? Because Eric obviously works for CMON, so they do everything how they do stuff.
Or come on, as he called it.
Yeah, or come on. Well, so they just rebranded, right? So when I was there like 10 years ago, they were still Cool Money or Not.
Yeah.
And then they went CMON, and then now they're Come On, right? I've been playing with one of their big dice, right? So it's one of
They
their.
actually decided to just go with Come On.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're not, right? So.
Just embrace it. Half the world said it anyway.
Yeah, so they're doing all of that, but like at the same time, like Elisa is doing a lot of stuff with D&D. So she did that whole puzzle stuff for D&D Live. And Kathleen does a lot with teaching and stuff too. So like she's like, oh yeah, we're getting ready for game design and all this stuff, but also like I'm a teacher, so that's a whole other thing we got to.
Which was really cool to hear. Yeah, and how she brought that energy in. Amazing. So
it's really neat, right? And Sen, it was good timing because one of his games that he's got out right now is on Kickstarter, so it came out at a boom boom. And then Emerson's always doing something really cool, so he could just talk the whole time, and I would be just fine with that. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It's this is actually Stephen in the chat room just said something that was actually something funny enough I wanted to ask everybody today too, which was what's a Comic-Con tradition that you miss, something that you're not getting at home. That and he said that he actually misses unintentional cussing because the YouTube has been like muting and like leaving out the cussing. I was like, that's such a like small gem that like I did not expect for like missing. I like one of the biggest things for me, I really took for granted walking between rooms in the exhibit halls and buildings and having to just sit in one place and stare at a screen all day. Like I actually am missing carrying all of my crap around San Diego in the movement, which I never expected. What about you guys?
I think what I'm missing the most is actually kind of what you gave me a little bit of last night, Chelsea. I miss running into people that I know, even if it's just for 2 seconds, like, hey, I'm running here. Great. Hey, I'm running here. Hi.
Literally what we had last night. It was
exactly what we had last night.
Bye.
Exactly. And today I got on, I was texting a friend while we were watching a panel together to try to replicate that feeling.
Yeah.
But the randomness of the random run-ins, whether it be friends or celebrities or, just whomever.
Yeah. Well, first off, hello, Nick. Howdy. And I'm on the opposite end. It's like, it's great running into people that you know, but I also think it's great meeting new people that have the like-minded fandoms or whether it's a fandom you just got into. People like, hey, did you see that? That's really cool, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do season 2, or just random conversation with random people that are excited about the same thing that you are.
Yeah, that energy is so I think I'm having a hard time really focusing on a lot of these panels, especially like 2 or 3 of them during the day. And I'm just kind of like, I'm at home. I want to do something more active with my mind than stare at this TV. And there's a big part of it. Like when you sit down and it's a show, you're really excited and they show you a clip you weren't expecting. And then the panel ends and you've got that 10 minutes before the next panel and everyone's like, can you believe, what do you think that means? And everyone starts having their own conspiracy theories and like, oh my God, I miss that so much. Ben agrees in the chat room that he's missing the random encounters. That's a big one for people.
Another thing is so some of the panels made me laugh because there was a lot of really good energy in it. And I'm laughing in front of a screen by myself. I can't share oh my God, did you hear that? That's so funny. It's just like, oh, I'm kind of here in my room watching this.
Have you actually, outside of the panel, Ross, that you moderated and pre-recorded and submitted, and outside of these lives, have you had any time to explore Comic-Con at home?
So I spent a lot of time walking through the exhibitor hall.
Okay.
Because normally I don't get a chance to do that because I'm always working the booth or doing panels. So my booth time is normally, I'll get there at 8 a.m. and then walk the halls, which that is something I definitely miss is the early hours where you can go in with an exhibitor badge and the build time. Like a Tuesday and Wednesday, I was like, oh my gosh, I'd be building the booth right now. That's something which that's always a crazy thing. But it's that early hours where you walk through and you can just walk the halls and look at all the different stuff without the environment.
Without 6,000 people in the aisle.
The assault isn't happening on your system, right? So you get to really kind of see that calm, and you can feel when they turn the AC on. That's kind of fun. But I've really been enjoying going through the exhibitor hall and just looking at all the different stuff and just reading everything about what's going on. And then I found myself getting lost on some Star Wars websites today. And I was reading the whole interview between Shag and the Beeline Creative guys because they did that collab with the new mugs, which is super cool. And Shag's been doing stuff for forever with Comic-Con, and the Geeky Tiggy's one of those guys. So like that's great. But now they've like power combined for like the ultimate Star Wars set because they have a Star Wars mugs and the Star Wars masks that are all super cool. And it's like they had a whole interview
line as well, and they did like Shag Star Wars coasters that were just gorgeous.
Oh yeah, right. And they always go to Tiki Witches every year, I mean, we're all going to be missing out on, but for San Diego, that's a big Tiki festival. It's always after Gen Con, so it's like, oh cool, Comic Con's over, Gen Con's over. That's kind of my escape show where I just go and just hang out for 4 days. But that doesn't happen either. But they had this whole interview with LucasArts they did, or not Lucasfilm, and that was on their site, but I was able to get through the exhibitor hall thing. So that was just really cool to kind of do that. So there's a lot on there that's been pretty neat. And then I'm in a couple Discord chats and some Facebook groups, and everybody's kind of like, oh my gosh, this panel here, and people have printed out all their badges and the end of line signs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's the Tin Fish thing. I want to go down there and check it out, but there's a Comic-Con shrine that's going on down at the Tin Fish restaurant. So I might make it down there before the weekend's out.
Yeah, definitely. I hope you make it so we can see those photos on Facebook.
Yeah.
I learn a lot about it. There was part of me that wasn't getting the satisfaction I wanted out of Comic-Con for a second, where I was like, maybe I'll just drive to San Diego and take a photo of the memorial and then drive back. Like, why not? Clear my head, a nice long drive. I haven't been in the car that long in months. But that drive to San Diego right now would be like heading to set on a normal day before the pandemic with LA traffic. So
how is the LA traffic? I totally off the back. Has LA had bad traffic during all of this, or is it pretty?
I think it's still.
It's picked back up, but the first 2 months was amazing.
Yeah, San Diego, we're not really having any. People are off the road still, or people are on the roads, but it's a little different. So once you get down here, it's just fine.
Nice. Good to know. Yeah. Well, Peter, was there any other gaming news you wanted to get into?
Not so much gaming, but one of my absolute, I had two favorites, but one of my absolute favorites was Crossing Swords. It's a original on Hulu, and that was a really fun panel to watch. If you like Robot Chicken, if you like raunchy graphic humor with stop motion animation, watch this. Chelsea, you told me to watch this a while ago. I'm definitely going to watch it now because it's like little Playmobil pegs doing the worst stuff. It's like South Park level humor. And a lot of great energy there. Seth Green was amazing. Tara Strong is in there.
Cool.
Oh my gosh, some really great voice acting in there. And
Nicole Brown, Breckin Meyer, Nicholas Holt. It's a great voice cast.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Nicole is so sweet, by the way. Just the way she talks, she's so humble, and it's so wonderful because the character she plays is so not that. It's a very aggressive character, and it's just really awesome to see them playing off each other. I recommend watching that panel and then watching the Hulu series afterwards. And they are guaranteed season 2. It looks like maybe a season 3. It's doing quite well, so that's excellent. I got to see Rick and Morty live, so that was Adult Swim Con, so it was not through the Comic-Con programming. They're doing it on Twitch, so you get to actually go in, and if you've done Twitch streaming as an audience member before, you get to talk to them and ask questions. So they did a Q&A. It was very quick. They were on a time limit. The next thing coming up, I believe, is Samurai Jack at 9:30.
Oh, nice.
So they have a video game.
And they're like closing tonight out with the marathon too. They're having
Yes,
a watch party.
really cool. So Chelsea, I gave you a link to the Adult Swim Con if people want to sign up for that, so they know when stuff is coming out and they have their full schedule on it. I definitely recommend if you like Adult Swim.
Well, just for tonight, I pulled up Saturdays, so if people want to plan ahead for tomorrow, this is their big stuff that they're doing tomorrow for the Adult Swim Con. So if anyone cares about that, definitely make a note or visit adultswimcon.com. And yeah, most of their stuff was live on Twitch. That's what
Twitch, yeah. So it was just the voice actors. Dan Harmon was there, Sarah Chalk, Chris Parnell, Spencer Grammer. So the big characters on there.
That's great.
So it was really fun seeing them
awesome.
talk. And there was an exclusive scene too in there too. I believe you can watch what they already did live. Obviously, it's not going to be live, but you can rewatch that.
And for the full experience, you should Uber Eats a food truck sandwich. Right?
Ross, while we have you here before you jump, you want to give a little plug too to all the stuff that the op is doing. We know we've got this amazing live stream schedule.
Yeah, so we're running an OpCon and the op at home this week and then next week. So we're doing stuff tomorrow. So we're going to be playing with 94.9, talking about the op tomorrow at 8:30. At 1 o'clock, we're going to have Sing Fu Lim on with us. We're going to be playing through the first part of Scooby-Doo. Then we're going to be talking about hobby games and how the Red Hot of Gaming is going on. And then we have a Coded Chronicles live play at 6, which is super cool. Sunday, we'll be doing another blank slate, more Harry Potter, and then some weekend Trivia Pursuit as well. And then also Saturday, tomorrow, those are going to be an RPG professional panel going up, another one that I pre-recorded with Comic-Con. So it'll have Ash and Ivan and all kinds of cool people on there. Beat Walters talking about RPGs and how that's worked in 2020. And then on Sunday, we're going to have a State of the Industry panel that'll have Eric Lang on there and Scott Gata and Murray Cusson, who runs ShyTag, and a couple of the people all talking about gaming stuff. So it's going to be a full weekend. Awesome.
Well, definitely, if you guys are looking for more gaming stuff to get into, go visit the OpsCom. You have giveaways through the Ops website as well that you guys are doing.
Right, yeah.
Sign up and win some games.
Just join on the website. We've got all kinds of cool stuff going on. We've got demos. We've got walkthroughs. We have a couple more panels that are going to be going live too. So we filmed probably like 12 panels over the last month and a half, just so they're all op related, talking about our games. A lot of fun interviews with people like in-house. So, oh my gosh, like today we had a whole talk about Harry Potter and what it's like making games in the wizarding world. But it wasn't just like, oh, make sure it's Ron, Hermione. I could really kind of dive deep. I tried to make sure I was asking questions that I hadn't totally prepped them for. So it was like, tell me, what is storytelling to you, and why are co-op games so important for game night and stuff like that. And we've got 4 people that all do internal game design that like are all big super fans of the fandoms they love, but also like care about telling those stories and how do you interpret that onto the tabletop and sharing a lot of that. So
what's really amazing is that like the fact that you put that thought into making sure that you were asking different questions. Peter and I were literally talking about, this is why we love you as a moderator. This was Absolutely. Like where the thought was of like, we should have Ross crash the live tonight. It's just because we know if you're hosting the panel, it's going to be good.
Oh, thanks guys.
Absolutely. It was amazing. You did a great job.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. It was really good. I'll joke that like it was the only time I've ever felt like that we're like, oh my gosh, like everybody in here is like a big deal. I hope I don't mess it up. Yeah, but it was just fantastic, and we're at a really good part right now, like in the tabletop industry, where everybody's really approachable. Everybody wants to share what's going on. And what's really cool is if you want to get into tabletop gaming, whether you want to design a game or publish or just find it, the community is so inviting and is sharing of knowledge and information that it's really cool. So get out there and play some games. Next week for Gen Con, there's going to be a lot more stuff from a lot of different companies too.
Yeah, so, it only hit me like 2 days ago that next week is Gen Con and that Gen Con is also virtual. And I was like, I am not ready for this.
Oh yeah. Well, it's crazy to think about. If all this wasn't happening, Comic-Con and Gen Con would have still been back to back.
Yeah.
Right. So it would have been a whole different show. It's like literally packing 2 bags, taking 1 shower, getting out of the plane, and then going over to Gen Con. So but here we are. Anyway, guys, thank you for having me on. Glad to be a part of the night.
Absolutely. It's good to see
Thank
you.
you for coming.
Good
Cool.
luck with
Great
the rest
seeing
of
you.
Comic-Con.
You too. Later.
Later.
I do have to mention, Stephen. I stand corrected. It was
already ended. Yeah.
9:30 Eastern.
It ended as we were starting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Kristen, what else did you get into today?
I basically watched panels all day long. And by all day, at one point, I decided to go for a walk. And so I stuck in my earbuds and I listened to a panel as I was walking. So I saw a lot. There were a couple big themes of my day. The first is one of my favorite themes of every Comic-Con, which is discovering new shows. So I discovered 2 today that I'd like to talk about. The first one is one I didn't think I would have any interest in, but now I'm kind of excited about. And that's a Quibi show called Don't Look Deeper. Now, I've kind of avoided most Quibi shows because of the platform. I know you guys are familiar, but I wasn't that familiar. It's 10-minute episodes you can watch on your phone. Yep. It's kind of different because
and she says we're familiar. I also don't have Quibi and I'm not familiar with it. Like I know of the platform and what it does, but it's not interesting.
Same.
Yeah, that's why I'm giving a little background. So there's also one thing you can do. It's called the turnstile technology. So since you're watching it on your phone, you can watch it either horizontally or vertically. So that has a lot to play when it comes into creating the show. Like, how do you do that? How do you think about that? Because when you're watching it horizontally, you get more scenery. You're watching it vertically, you get more character, emotion, that kind of thing. So you have to film for both. And the other thing that was really exciting to me about these, when I think 10-minute episodes, I think of those like stupid, silly things that happen really quickly. And I'm not really into that. But the way that this show was presented was it's a really good, it's a drama, high impact show. But because they're only 10-minute episodes, you take out all the fluff and you get to really the good stuff. And that made me excited because you think about these like books or TV shows or movies that are just a little too long because they have too much filler in them. Well, this Quibi platform allows for the potential to remove that filler and you just get to the good gut punching emotion, the good action, the good whatever. So that kind of made me excited. So this show, Don't Look Deeper, we got to see the trailer. They didn't fully explain exactly what it was, but from what I gathered, it's about this young woman who discovers she's maybe not entirely human and she's trying to figure that out. And so the young woman's played by Helena Howard, and then Don Cheadle plays her father, and Emily Mortimer plays her therapist, who's also conveniently an AI expert. So AI probably plays some sort of role in this. So you have some heavy hitters in the show, and Catherine Hardwicke is the director. So there's some people who know what they're doing. So I'm excited kind of to see how this technology is going to play out in a show that seems like it would be typically one of those hour-long drama shows. So I'm kind of excited. And a couple fun facts to get you interested. There is a ferret involved in the show, which is one of my favorite animals. I had pet ferrets growing up. And so there's a pet ferret in the show. And the other thing that really intrigued me is apparently there's a supremely the most awkward dinner scene you can possibly imagine between Don Cheadle and Emily Mortimer. And I'm just trying to imagine those 2 actors being awkward, and I can't.
Right.
So so that's a show I went from having 0 interest to being like, I kind of want to see this.
And you got your Comic-Con discovery. You were worried that you weren't going to come across anything that because you weren't forced to sit through a panel while waiting for the panel you want to see, you know?
Yeah, I still haven't seen the show, but I'm interested now.
Kristen's definitely done a lot more due diligence than me today. I got so burnt out from feeling disengaged from these panels yesterday that like I was like, all right, here's the schedule of what I'm interested in. Here's what I'm actually really interested in. And I just watched the 2 things that I really wanted to see. And then I tried to do the Future Tech Live thing because they did launch for Mac. So if you were trying to do Future Tech Live yesterday and you weren't able because you were a Mac user, they do have a Mac version now. But then I downloaded it and it still didn't work. And I so like, no Future Tech Live for me, no VR, no playing with no seeing the Dr. Seuss museum. I don't get to build a habitat on a planet and win a NASA jacket, which I really wanted to do. But I did go to Hulu and Marvel's Hellstrom panel. And this was my big excitement for the day. I've been looking forward to the series for 2 years now, ever since they kind of got their SAG agreement, because since I'm a SAG performer, I can see when people take out stuff to start filming. And I was like, what is this Marvel series? But so it's interesting because this is Marvel's official launch into taking a darker tone. And this is part of the MCU. So it's a standalone story within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm curious how it will relate to other things. And because Marvel has plans for other horror coming down the line, including in the movies with like the new Doctor Strange coming and WandaVision, stuff like that, I'm wondering if somehow it will tie into those things at all. If you don't know, Hellstrom is based off the comic book, The Son of Satan. I was like, and it's about Damon and Anna, their brother and sister, and their mom. And but it's not just focused on the family there, it's focused on their extended family, which family for the series of the show is not just blood, but your chosen family. So it's a huge exploration of family while being a supernatural horror, you know? And it's coming to Hulu October 16th. All episodes are dropping. You can see a teaser trailer up now online that they had during the panel. And yeah, it was, once they got into the panel, it was exciting to learn more about what they're doing with these characters. But I will say that it was the first panel I've been through that really dove into systemic racism and started the panel off this way with 13 minutes of talking about what needs to change and the serious tone of what is happening in the world right now. And I really hope that people heard it, that they could hear that, stay there, stay present, because it is important, and then get to the Marvel stuff as well. It was an interesting choice, I think, for them to give up 1/4 of their panel time to this, but it's also really needed. So.
Yeah, the other theme of my day, other than discovering new shows, was this theme of empowering women in the entertainment industry. And that really held a thread. It started with the Charlize Theron panel I saw in the morning, talking about how really as an action hero, as a female action hero, there's no room for second chances in Hollywood. So every time she does a new film, she says this could be the last one I ever do. So I need to put my all in it because of that. So I went from that to a conversation with female Hollywood executives, which was largely just frustrating because they were talking about how important networking and all of that. And
they weren't talking anything about their positions as women in the industry, and they have really big positions right now. And instead they were giving advice of like how to break into Hollywood. And I was just like, then you should have called the panel How to Break into Hollywood. Like,
well, they did give into some important themes. Like, it's really important to help your fellow person. Like, you can't just do it on your own. You need someone from above to sort of grab you and lift you up. And they also talked about an organization, a nonprofit that works with teens and young college kids to get them internships. People who come from maybe disadvantaged households where they can't afford to take time off and do an internship. And that's kind of huge in the industry. So I thought that was important. And then there was also, I went to the Behind the Music panel, which I really love going to every year. The composers, and this year there was also music supervisors there. And one of the music supervisors had a really interesting comment. And this was an interesting fact that I would like to share. She said that when she submits songs by a female artist that are supposed to play behind a male character, they almost always get rejected. But it never happens in the flip. So it never happens when she submits a male artist singing behind a female character. And so she's discovered, as she's getting sort of more of making a name for herself in the industry, that it's important for her to stand up to that and say, this is wrong. You got to really think about what you're doing.
I mean, it wasn't just a women like trend that you saw today. You also went to the Brave New Warriors panel, and you were telling me how a lot of the males in there were also talking about how typecasted they've been into playing certain tropes or living up to a certain version of what they should be or what they look like. So I'm glad people are having the conversation, and it's good. People need to know, you know, even the fan favorites panel that I attended at the end of the day, natural hair, and she has gorgeous, gorgeous hair. And she kept making a comment of like how people never understand why she vents that they need to get a hairstylist that knows how to work with her type of hair. And it's a conversation that SAG has had privately within our union a lot lately. We keep having these Zoom meetings and these live streams where they get together. There was one, it was just a panel of Black women talking about how no one knows how to do their hair and how frustrating that is. And it's not necessarily, I mean, it is a big, big problem for Black women as well, but like there's hairstylists in there that don't know how to do Jewish hair, you know, like, you know, they need to have a more varied skill set in how they're bringing people in and be able to work with all types of people, you know? So it's great. Everyone's talking, everyone feels safe to be open right now. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I had another like train of thought with that, and it's now just poofed away.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. It will absolutely come back.
I did learn a lot of, I mean, that's a lot of heavy stuff, and it's important to talk about that stuff. It's important to talk about the quarantine we're in and the pandemic we're in and how it's impacting us. But I did try to make a note of all the fun facts I learned today as well to balance it out. And I did learn some fun facts. Speaking about the behind the music panel, I learned a fun fact for the two of you about one of your favorite shows, The Great.
Oh.
Yes, so one of the music people behind that was there, and she was talking about the research she did going into to finding the music for that show, and she researched a lot of Russian folk songs. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys as people who've watched it.
Yes.
But here's the fun fact. If you're an expert in Russian folk songs, you will notice you're about 100 years off from when the Great took place and when these folk songs were actually happening.
Oh,
but also that's the whole thing with the Great in general is like the costume is like modern. You know, they're using colors that they didn't have back then in fabrics. Like every bit of that show has something going on. They even purposely have a moment where they designed Nicholas Holt's character as Emperor Peter to look like Keith Richards. Like, they were actually like inspired by Keith Richards and the Rolling Stones, and like, you know, maybe even a little bit of David Bowie in there. It's that I love the show so much for that. I thought
you guys would appreciate that. I also have a fun fact. I don't know if anyone watches Prodigal Son, but Dermot Mulroney, who's come on board, I think on season 2, is actually a cellist. And so he plays his own theme in the show on the cello.
That's cool. Actually, right? That is cool to know that somebody gives you the opportunity to play your own theme in a show. That's awesome.
Right? I thought that was really cool. And they were talking about, because this all was sort of happening while the pandemic was starting, quarantine. So some of these composers who want orchestral music, they're really figuring out this Zoom orchestra thing. I don't know if you've seen any of the Zoom orchestras going around. And the biggest challenge to that is that you need the really great audio engineers to help you out, get the right equipment and everything. And then they have each individual player in their homes on their Zooms playing their instrument. And that's what they did with Dermot.
That's awesome. That's really cool. There is something else, Kristen, that we need to talk about from yesterday.
Oh, man.
So this is that artist that if you watched our live yesterday, Kristen was talking about Jenny Parks, that takes pop culture characters and turns them into cats. And like, you sent me the Lord of the Rings photo, like that's what it like loaded onto. But when I saw this, I was like, everyone in the world needs to see the Thanos cat. Like, oh my God.
I have one of her designs right here. This is one I got one year. It's a Castiel from Supernatural.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
This is the Lord of the Rings. This is our fellowship.
The Golem one is perfect. I love the Golem one.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I mean, the Sam is great. The Merry and Pippin are perfect. Like,
It's great because you can work out which character each cat is supposed to represent. It's
Gimli is too much.
yeah. So if
Is
you're into pop culture and you're into cats, you got to visit jennyparks.com because this stuff is gold. Let's just pick a random slide down here and let's see what we get. Oh, Stranger Fur things.
Strange for things.
One more. The Hulk.
Hulk, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
brilliant.
That's gold.
It makes me smile every time I see her booth.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. Here's a theme. Like you had themes of women empowerment and things like that. Here's the running theme since yesterday and today I've noticed between panels is one cast member going, oh, let me spoil the whole show. And then they just bleep them out while this person is really animated for 5 minutes and everyone's laughing. And I'm just like, okay, it was funny the first time someone did it, but I've watched multiple panels do this now. I was like, you all thought you were being original, didn't you? Every single one of you thought that was an original joke.
I did see there's a show with Ron Perlman, a new show on the Peacock called The Capture, which I'm also kind of excited about. And you guys were talking earlier about the bleeping out. You know, Ron Perlman loves his bleeping. So that happened a lot during the panel.
Nice.
I love Ron Perlman.
Well, we're getting to close to the end of our hour. We got like 15 minutes. So let's talk a little bit about tomorrow's big highlights. So I know for me, like we said at the beginning, I'm front of line for Hall H. I'm ready for Bill and Ted tomorrow. But, also on my list, I'm excited to see the premiere stuff for Disney Plus, The Right Stuff. This is the new National Geographic series. And Apple TV Plus comes to Comic-Con with For All Mankind. And I've been trying to do something with each streaming service while we've been at Comic-Con. So I'm definitely going to check that out. Golda just said, oh my God, nerdy characters as cats, best thing ever. Yeah, pretty much. What about you guys? What are you really looking forward to tomorrow?
Actually, the Disney Plus Phineas and Ferb movie, Candace Against the Universe. They're going to have some talks about that. I think number one, though, I put on my list is at 4 p.m. Lovecraft Country from HBO. You know I'm an H.P. Lovecraft fan, and it's supposed to mix Lovecraft, and there's like tones of racism in there, and it's like putting those things together. So it is very Lovecraftian horror. I want to know more. The explanation did not give me enough. Bill and Ted is up there with me, but also so was Keanu is working tomorrow. Constantine at 12 p.m. Constantine's 15th anniversary. He's going to be on that panel, which will be amazing.
Yes, but is Constantine being moderated by Kevin Smith? Because Bill and
yes, okay, right, I did. Yeah, I forgot that. It's Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
that is excellent as well. Great moderator choice for that one.
Yeah, but if you guys want to watch Bill and Ted's at 3:00, Constantine's at noon, For All Mankind's at 2:00. What's on your list besides Constantine, Kristen?
Well, Constantine's number one, but I'm also excited about seeing some season 2 of some other shows I like. The Order on Netflix is one of the show I got really into after last year's Comic-Con. And I just finished watching season 2 last night, so there'll be a panel about that. And then Stumptown is another show I've watched recently.
Yep.
So a panel about that.
Fun fact about Stumptown, you can see me in it.
Nice.
You did mention that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have some other shows like Wynonna Earp and What We Do in the Shadows that I love.
I'm excited for Wynonna Earp. So excited.
Yeah. So I'm excited to touch base with some of these casts. That today was my new show day, and tomorrow is going to be my let's touch base with all the shows and cast members that I love day.
Nice. Especially Wynonna Earp is such like a full circle convention moment for you and me, Kristen, because one of our first WonderCons, Wynonna Earp hadn't even aired yet. And they had the premiere, like we mean world premiere, red carpet premiere for Wynonna Earp. We got to be at the premiere with the cast. We watched 2 or 3 episodes. You remember?
I think it was It was 1 or 2, so maybe 2.
I think it was 2. It was
Yeah.
definitely more than 1. I was like, and then there was an after party at a bowling alley, and we all went bowling with the cast, and we made 2 friends there that have been our convention friends ever since. These are people we see every year at the cons and that we're not getting to see this year. And so I'm really excited for Wynonna Earp because that literally showed me the power of fandom at a convention.
And we've had some really great interviews with that cast over the years. Our 60-second videos.
Absolutely. Yeah. Did we miss anything for tomorrow?
I did. Like I said, I have a huge list. I don't know if I'll get to all of it, but I do really want to get into Magic the Gathering with Mark Rosewater. And then after that would be a chat with Guillermo del Toro about his new film Antlers. So
that's gonna be good. That
he's gonna be
mind
talking about
and that
creature
band,
design.
genius.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. I love. He's.
Oh, you know what I marked is this Women Rocking Hollywood 2020 supporting female helmed film and TV. But after the way that like female executives thing went today, like I don't have high hopes for it.
Oh.
But that's also tomorrow.
Lots of good stuff to check out.
Too much good stuff, actually.
I didn't even. That's watching. What's on your big schedule for tomorrow? Because you know, as much as we're talking at you and to each other, we do see you and we're talking to you too, and talk with us because you know there might be something you know about that we don't. I never did get around to the table read for Star Trek today that they put up at 10 a.m. cbs.com/Star Trek Discovery. That was something I was planning to do, but it required me to move from the couch to my laptop, and that was too much effort today. As much as I just complained that I'm not getting enough movement at Comic-Con, and I was like, no.
Yeah, that's.
I am really impressed. Like somebody commented on it too that this came really fast. Like, let's just recap, guys. I ordered this at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, and it was at my door before noon today. What? I didn't pay for overnight shipping. Like, what magic was this?
Amazon magic.
It was like it came from Hot Topic through UPS. Oh. I was like, and UPS has not been delivering well during this entire pandemic to us.
Agreed.
I was like, and I feel like Hot Topic just went, we need people to have their convention merch during the convention. Like they just decided to put the extra magic out there or something because the one that I ordered off of Funko's website, that hasn't arrived. Yeah. At Box Lunch.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. And I love her so much.
I should also mention, because I don't think I have, we're talking about all these things we missed. I went to the HBO Max Adult Animation panel today, which was also really, really well done. Very entertaining panel, if anyone wants to check that out. But they asked a bunch of questions about Comic-Con. And one was, what do you not miss? And almost every single answer was the same. And that was the smell.
Fair. It's very fair.
You know, just keep that in mind when all the things that we wish we had.
I really like Steven just said, being able to watch multiple Comic-Con panels virtually at once makes me feel like Hermione with a time turner.
Excellent analogy.
Yeah, that's really like, okay, so this is the thing though, right? In the past, you had to pick one panel and you weren't going to see any of the other panels. But there was that one year, I was thinking about this today, like 3 years ago, that Comic-Con started Comic-Con HQ, and they were going to film the Hall H panels and some of the Ballroom 20 panels, and you'd be able to watch them on their channel. And I don't know what happened to Comic-Con HQ. I think it just disappeared. But I never, like, I was like, oh, good. I can go watch the Game of Thrones panel next week. I don't have to worry about Hall H. I never went back and watched it. What is making me want to go back and watch things right now? Because I'm actually going, ooh, what did I miss? Yeah. But like the 1 year Comic-Con gave us the chance to do that before, I was like, I'm good.
It's too exhausting. It's too much.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that's a great little natural endpoint for the night. I do want to just say a couple of quick like house cleaning things. One, we found out that the brand Hero Within, right before we went live, has brand new exclusives they haven't revealed anywhere that are dropping at 9 a.m. tomorrow because they decided to save some stuff for the biggest day of Comic-Con, which is Saturday. By the way, if you see me constantly doing this, my bangs are out of control. I'm poking my eyeball. This is called pandemic problems. Like I need a haircut. Anyway, but so it's making me wonder if other brands are about to drop a bunch of stuff tomorrow morning. So if you've been caring about exhibit hall stuff at all, I would set an alarm first thing in the morning, just in case some brands make some big announcements on social media, on the websites, on the exhibit hall. It's definitely happening at Hero Within. Hero Within had that pin that everyone loved too that said, I miss Comic-Con. It was an open edition pin with like a tear just like coming out of it of like, I miss Comic-Con 2020 kind of thing. And they sold out to the point that they had to take pre-orders and they're going to do another batch because it wasn't limited edition. So we'll see what kind of goodies they're dropping tomorrow. If you want to stay more informed about all of that stuff, as always, I'm going to remind you, follow High Voltage on Twitter. We are sharing as much as we can share, from like trailers that dropped and exclusive merch things and random bits of humor and things like that. It's all here, including, you know, we even just have some other nerd news, like Halloween Horror Nights was canceled for 2020. So follow High Voltage Mag on Twitter, and we've got the latest, and we will keep trying to update that as much as possible. You can also follow Sprinkled by Magic on Instagram, and we've got a bunch of other giveaways and stuff from Comic-Con at Home that we've been putting into our stories as we find them. And that's a great way to stay in touch with everything. Otherwise, if you have any other specific questions or anything, you can leave it below in a comment, and we'll see it. And we can get back to you tomorrow night at the live, because we will be right back here tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's West Coast time, like California. So 10:30 on the East Coast, much later in the UK. Why you're watching this live, I don't know. You know,
because nobody's sleeping.
Yeah, and then we'll have one final live on Sunday, but that one will be at 5:30 p.m. because everything wraps a little bit earlier on Sunday. And we do have a very, very special guest for tomorrow, surprise guest. You won't want to miss it. And who knows, we might have more than one tomorrow. So definitely tune in for that. Peter, do you want to shout out any channels or anything before we jot off?
Not today. No, I think we're good.
Sweet.
I would like to say one thing. Go Cardinals.
Well, yes, baseball's back, guys, and basketball's about to be back, and there's no audiences, so we all cheer from home and here virtually. And even though we are here to celebrate Comic-Con, you can still be nerdy about sports, and that's what Kristen is being nerdy about today.
Okay.
Rainbow Bright, because somebody bring this back, please.
Somebody.
People care about it. I know I'm not the only one. There's got to be someone else out there that's like, I love Rainbow Bright and the sprites and like, come on, the merchandise alone. What are you people doing? Oh, anyway.
Maybe HBO Max.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still waiting for HBO Max to add Tiny Toons and all of the other like.
Yeah, or Animaniacs.
Yes.
I'm waiting. I am waiting.
Like, hi, Warner Brothers, what are you doing? You're sitting on gold. Like, everyone's going to subscribe the second you do that. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to add Tiny Toons, and then they're going to be like, leaving next month, Tiny Toons, right after they announce it. Like, they're doing with all of their I don't understand what HBO Max is doing. As somebody said, sorry I was late, guys, but keep it up. Well, we're glad that you're here and you're watching. Thanks for watching tonight, guys. We will see you tomorrow. Kristen, Peter, thank you so much. Ross, that was here earlier. Thank you for crashing and popping in and bringing your amazing energy. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye-bye.